Today, President Biden announcing new incentives to push people to get vaccinated. Businesses will get a tax break for giving their workers time off to get the vaccine. How much tax credit can businesses claim? Netflix shares tumble as new subscriptions plummet and take investor confidence with it. And suspected Chinese hackers spying on the U.S. defense industry. How did they get through and how long has this been going on? That and much more coming up at NTD Business. Good evening and great to have you with us as President Biden says businesses that give employees time off to get vaccinated from the CCP virus can get tax credits. The credits are limited to businesses with fewer than 500 employees.
Every employee should get paid leave to get a shot, and businesses should know that they can provide it without a hit to their bottom line.
Biden says the government would reimburse businesses for up to 80 hours of paid time off to go get vaccinated or recover from vaccination side effects. The tax credit is for up to $511 a day per worker. The program goes through September and the funding comes from Congress's pandemic relief bill. Biden says at the current phase, anyone over the age of 16 is eligible to get vaccinated. CDC says 26% of the overall U.S. population has already been vaccinated. And Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Pramila Jayapal taking the first steps towards free college tuition today, introducing a bill that would make it free for families earning less than $125,000 per year. The federal government would pay 75% of tuition and fees, and states would pick up the rest. The government's going to fund it by levying a transaction tax on Wall Street. That bill will be introduced Wednesday, with Sanders' office saying it would raise more than $2 trillion over the next decade. But Sanders' College for All Act could face an uphill battle in the Senate, with no Republicans having come out in support, but no Democrats have come out against it. And Democrats in the House and Senate will have another go at passing the Green New Deal. NTD's Tom Ozimek has the details.
Progressive Democrats on Tuesday reintroduced their signature climate change-busting blueprint, the Green New Deal.
And we're going to continue fighting for economic and environmental justice.
For the past 2 years, it has been proven that the Green New Deal isn't just a resolution, it is a revolution.
The Green New Deal was first introduced in 2019 in the form of a non-binding House resolution. On Tuesday, an identical version was reintroduced as a Senate resolution. The Green New Deal seeks to eliminate U.S. greenhouse gas emissions within a decade and transition the economy away from fossil fuels. It also weaves climate change imperatives into any infrastructure bills considered by Congress and puts forward a medley of progressive social justice priorities in areas like race relations and income disparities.
What we have today reintroduced in Congress is what I call the Green New Disaster. We've seen it before, and they're doing this right as the economy is recovering from the pandemic.
Republicans were quick to denounce the Green New Deal reboot. Republican James Comer of Kentucky, ranking member on the House Oversight Committee, said the Green New Deal is a socialist super package, which will only saddle hardworking taxpayers with debt and displace millions of Americans from their jobs. And Ralph Norman, a South Carolina Republican and ranking member on the Environment Subcommittee, said the Green New Deal would change every aspect of American life: what we eat, how we travel, how we stay warm, and even what jobs we can take. He called the Green New Deal an attempt to disguise socialism in the name of environmental protections. Tom Ozimek, NTD News.
Wall Street surging today, snapping a two-day slide. The Dow gaining 316 points, 0.93%. S&P 500 was up 38 points, 0.93% as well. The Nasdaq rising 164, about 1.2%. Stocks gained broadly today. High healthcare, industrial, banks, technology, all lifting the market. Netflix, though, is slumping after disappointing results. More on that in just a moment. Much of the market's focus over the next 2 weeks will be on individual companies and how well their quarterly results turn out. About 80 of the S&P 500 are due to report results, as well as 1 out of every 3 members of the Dow. On average, analysts expect quarterly profits across the S&P 500 to climb 24% from a year earlier. It's according to FactSet. As I mentioned, Wall Street is maybe ready to spend less time watching TV, it seems. Netflix shares down over 7% today. Only 4 million people signed up in the first quarter. That's only a quarter of the record number from the same time last year. Netflix blames the shortfall on a lack of new titles due to production delays, and it expects more business in the second half of the year after it releases new movies and updates to its TV series. But some analysts think the low numbers are just a sign of what's to come as movie theaters reopen and people spend less time streaming at home. And TikTok, the China-owned social media app, is under fire over child privacy issues. Unhappy parents want billions of dollars in damages. A class action lawsuit in the UK claims TikTok illegally harvested the private data of millions of European children without adequate security measures or parental consent. The lawsuit could cover every child who has used TikTok since May 2018. It means TikTok may have to pay each of them thousands of dollars if the claim is successful. TikTok, though, responded to the lawsuit saying it has robust processes and technologies in place to help protect all its users, and the case will be heard next week. First came the credit card swipe, then you just had to tap. Now you can pay with just the wave of a hand. Amazon's rolling out palm scanners at one Whole Foods store in Seattle. The technology is called Amazon One, and it allows shoppers to pay by just holding their hands above a scanner. But before you can use it, you have to give the company your credit card information and palm print. Amazon's been using the system for some time at its Amazon Go grocery stores in Seattle. The company plans to bring it to 8 Seattle area Whole Foods stores in the coming months. Critics say it is a way for the retailer to cut jobs, but Amazon says the palm scanner won't have any impact on employment. And in a world first, and seemingly a step closer to making life multiplanetary, NASA will reuse a SpaceX rocket and capsule to send people to the International Space Station. NTD's Arlene Richards has the details.
For the first time, NASA is using a recycled SpaceX rocket and capsule. The Falcon 9 rocket will soon transport the SpaceX Dragon capsule to the International Space Station.
That'll be another first and a very important thing, as we all have talked before, flying on reused vehicles, on flight-proven vehicles, which is ultimately what helps us make life multiplanetary.
The 4 veteran astronauts who will soon be hurtling through space include NASA astronauts Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur, Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Akihiko Hoshide, and European Space Agency astronaut Thomas Pesquet. The first time 3 nationalities are in a Dragon.
This International Space Station itself is a big collaboration among 15 countries. So it is very important to do a lot of international cooperation.
Thomas Pesquet, who is French, is concerned the French government will strip him of his citizenship if he doesn't bring French cuisine on board.
And it's been a tradition really since the 90s and even the 80s. The first French mission was in 82. And there's always been special dishes being prepared by chefs or regular cooks for space stations.
The launch, originally scheduled for Thursday, is postponed because of unfavorable weather conditions.
Now, although the weather's probably going to look great here at the launch site, we're worried about those downrange winds and wave heights in case of an abort.
Takeoff is now scheduled for Friday at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Arlene Richards, NTD News.
A cybersecurity firm says Chinese hackers may have been spying on the U.S. defense industry for months. We don't yet know which agencies or groups they breached. NTD's Patrick Hayden has the details.
Researchers say that at least 2 groups of China-linked hackers have spent months spying on the U.S. defense industry. A previously undisclosed vulnerability in American virtual private networking devices was used by the hackers. Utah-based IT company Avanti issued a statement on Tuesday confirming the vulnerability and says that a very limited number of customers were targeted. These were customers that used Avanti's Pulse Connect Secure Suite. At the same time as Avanti's announcement, cybersecurity firm FireEye released a statement. It said it suspected that at least one of the hacking groups was operating on behalf of the Chinese government. The president of an arm of FireEye, Mandiant, says the hackers were operating from U.S. digital infrastructure. They have been borrowing naming conventions of their victims to camouflage their activity. A Chinese embassy spokesperson says China firmly opposes and cracks down on cyber attacks and says FireEye's allegations are irresponsible and ill-intended. Patrick Hayden, NTD News.
And plans for a breakaway European soccer league have collapsed following fan opposition. Now some of the clubs involved are admitting defeat and apologising. NTD's Arlene Richards reports.
The plan united fans, players and politicians in furious opposition. Now Europe's proposed soccer super league has collapsed. That just days after the plan was unveiled. On Wednesday, April 21, Juventus chairman Andrea Agnelli admitted defeat.
I remain convinced of the beauty of that project, of the value it would have developed to the pyramid, of the creation of the best competition in the world. But admittedly, no. I mean, I don't think that that project is now still up and running.
The project collapsed after all 6 of the English clubs involved pulled out. Manchester City and Chelsea went first on Tuesday, April 20, with others soon following. Critics had blasted the new contest as a closed shop, open only to a few elite teams. On Wednesday, Liverpool owner John Henry said sorry to fans for his role.
I want to apologize to all the fan supporters of Liverpool Football Club for the disruption I caused over the past 48 hours. Goes without saying, but should be said, that the project put forward was never going to stand without the support of the fans.
Other clubs, including Arsenal, published their own statements featuring varying degrees of apology. Some of the club owners involved are under pressure from fans to quit. Governments are under pressure to reform how teams can be owned and run. But for now, at least, fans can celebrate a rare victory over the sport's billionaire overlords.
It looks like many remote workers won't come back to the office even if you ask them to. Majorities say they'd rather quit and find a new job. NTD's Phil Zoe has the details.
A new survey says remote workers want to continue working from home.
Because I've heard that a lot. I think people like working in their pajamas.
58% of remote workers say they'll absolutely look for a new job just to continue working remotely.
Being able to wear more comfortable clothing, set up your home office space the way that you like, control things like temperature and lighting and even music.
Job search site FlexJobs surveyed over 2,000 remote workers. Nearly 4 out of 10 said they saved at least $5,000 a year, mainly from food and transportation costs.
Lunches out, coffees out, commuting expenses, whether you're driving into work every day.
But not everyone agrees. 39% said their mental health has gotten worse.
It created a lot of negative mental health effects for people because they weren't able to interact with.
There is no way that you can be productive and be stuck at home in your computer by yourself.
More than half of remote workers experience burnout.
A lot of the time when you're working from home, you can't really get away from work, so people are working a lot more.
What about working alone instead of working with people?
The isolation piece of it, working alone, physically away from people every day, that can be a challenge.
Like, I want to be in an office and I want to work with people.
Julia Tomeo has worked remotely since the pandemic, but it's not working out. She says home and work should be separated.
Like, for me, it's really important that space is my space to relax and not be honed in and being productive,
FlexJobs says remote work is likely here to stay, with some workers preferring the hybrid model, offering flexibility between home and the office. Phil Zoe, NTD News.
And some working from home want alternative workplaces. Now, one London firm is offering a pre-made home office that you can just set up right in your backyard. NTD's Colin Fredrickson takes a look.
On the outskirts of London, an unexpected consequence of the pandemic. Garden offices like this one are seeing high demand as part of a trend toward alternative workplaces.
In the first 2 weeks, we got hundreds of emails from everywhere.
The modular home office is designed to be a cozy hideout for gardens and courtyard spaces.
So everyone was really squeezed in their living room spaces, while in the backyard there was a garden or there was an empty space that could be used. The first client was someone that had to work from home, has a family and probably 2 kids, and he desperately needed a safe place where to concentrate.
The 8-foot tall structure is digitally fabricated. then constructed on site in about a day. A basic module cost about $7,000. The company is hoping to deliver about 15 units this year. One client from Norway is expecting hers later this month.
I do my trombone practicing, I do my paint, everything in the same room. And I just thought I need a space where I have something for my mind and something that can give me more clarity.
And she's looking forward to showing off her new workplace on video calls.
It will be a multi-use place. I will definitely have the space to do my work and the envy of my colleagues on the Zoom calls and team calls when they see my background.
The design firm's co-founder says they're now looking into offering more choices, like different exterior options, internal finishes, and customized furniture sets. Colin Fredrickson, NTD News.
Still to come. Soon you'll be able to get Abbott's home test kit for COVID-19 at your local drugstore. Find out how much it'll cost and where you can buy it. And music meets technology. The San Francisco Opera tests a device that can give new life to remote performances by reducing the time lag. That and more after this short break.
Hey everyone, today's an exciting day. I'm joined by my old friend, Mr. Ellis Williams, aka Mr. Biggs, one of the founding fathers of hip hop from the mighty Soul Sonic Force, who by the way happened to be a CarShield customer, and I had no idea.
When I saw you representing CarShield, I knew CarShield was the real deal. You've always been official.
You called me and you told me, you said, man, I got CarShield and it worked. What made you get it?
You know, I was actually watching a football game at the time. CarShield commercial came on. I was like, you know what? I have this old SUV, and I know the manufacturer warranty is about to run out. I didn't want to get stuck with expensive car repairs.
Right.
So I gave CarShield a call. Coverage was very affordable, and there was no long-term contract. A few months after that, transmission went on my car. I took it to my mechanic. Mechanic knew of CarShield. They called CarShield and saved my family and I $2,400.
CarShield is America's #1 auto protection company. Their administrators have paid out over $1 billion in claims and cover most vehicles from 5,000 to 150,000 miles.
When I bought my used car, I didn't expect any problems right away. But when it broke down, I'm glad I had CarShield.
CarShield saved me over $4,000 and followed through with their commitment. Thank you, CarShield.
I've been a CarShield customer for close to 7 years, had 3 vehicles covered, and they saved me close to $9,000.
With coverage through CarShield's administrators, you'll receive 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, rental reimbursement at no additional charge. Plus, with CarShield's nationwide coverage network, you can choose the mechanic or dealership of your choice no matter where you are.
If you're driving without a warranty, you have to call CarShield.
Yeah, you do. Give CarShield a call today before it's too late. Remember,
CarShield cars go farther.
Protect yourself now against expensive auto repair bills. Call CarShield for a free and instant protection plan quote. Once your car breaks down, it's too late. Call 800-545-5325. That's 800-545-5325.
Abbott's rapid home test kits for COVID-19 will soon be available for purchase. They're called Binax Now self-test kits, and you can buy them without a prescription. At first, they'll only be sold at CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart, and they should be available in the next few days online and in some stores. You can buy the Binax Now self-test in 2-count packs for $24. Abbott says it's the most affordable and most studied COVID-19 rapid test kit in the United States. The FDA gave the tests emergency use authorization, and it can be used on children as young as 2 years old and gives results in about 15 minutes. And the weather isn't the only thing heating up as Americans are making travel plans for the summer. More than 2/3 of Americans plan to travel for vacation over the summer. That's according to a new survey by TripAdvisor. Of those traveling, nearly 75% will stay domestic, with 13% traveling internationally. The hottest amenities following the pandemic are clean hotels with free cancellations, as well as those with dine-in options. Beach getaways top most Americans' travel wish list, with Florida and Mexico being the most popular destinations. If you're planning a road trip this summer, travel experts say cars that have been idle during the pandemic need to be serviced for safety. Mandy Geither has more on what you need to get checked.
As the weather heats up, so does business at some local car repair shops.
What a difference a year makes.
Last year at United Tire and Service in Pennsylvania, it was quiet, but now business is booming. Company president Greg Minaw says many customers are gearing up for a road trip.
Our service bays are busier, our teams are busier. It definitely feels like we're back to normal.
AAA says road trips continue to be the preferred way to travel in the U.S. If your car has been sitting in your driveway for the past year, it might need a checkup. If you have a favorite mechanic, check to see if there are any changes to how the business operates in the pandemic. And appointments are encouraged, according to David Bennett, AAA's repair systems manager.
Is there a contactless drop-off where you can just pull up, drop the keys off, let them know? Or is there a drop box where you put the keys? So you want to know the process.
Bennett says there are 4 main things a mechanic should inspect. Your battery. Without use, it might have a lower life expectancy. Your hoses. Make sure they're not dried out or cracked. Your tires. Make sure they're inflated and not worn. And get your fluid levels checked. Make sure they're clean and filled.
Some of those are the oil, the transmission fluid, power steering fluid, brake fluid are the 4 most common that you want to take a look at.
And if you're hitting the road, don't wait until the last minute to head to a mechanic.
You should be 2 weeks or so in advance of a trip, getting everything prepared on the car, make sure it's right before making a trip.
I'm Mandy Gaither.
And AAA says some repair shops that used to offer courtesy cars during repairs mightn't be doing that during the pandemic. It's another thing to keep in mind. And American Airlines says it's bringing back all pilots by the end of the summer. The company will be hiring 300 new pilots by the end of the year and 600 pilots in 2022. That's something the company hasn't done since the pandemic brought air travel to a halt last year. American Airlines made the announcement in a company-wide memo saying it looks forward to a busy summer season. Meanwhile, air travel levels remain at pandemic-era highs. The Transportation Security Administration screened more than 1.4 million people at airports across the country on Monday. By contrast, only 99,000 people were screened on the same day in 2020. And technology companies are leveraging the lockdown difficulties of the music industry to redefine digital technology. One device that reduces latency is bringing the booming sounds of a live orchestra right into people's homes. NTD's Andrew Thomas has the story.
Latency is the lag between producing a sound and it being heard. Using internet technology, tech companies can recreate the sound experience of a live performance, even when artists and audiences are apart. They do it by reducing that lag. One of the tech's early users is the San Francisco Opera. The performance will return to the stage for its first live shows in more than a year on Friday.
Converted into digital.
Rehearsal featured a test version of a pocket-sized device named Aloha. It was developed by Stockholm-based tech company Elk OS in partnership with telecom providers Ericsson, Vodafone, and Verizon.
I mean, I feel really good. It's been really fun getting to do all of this for, the first time in a year. We've done rehearsals for both Barber and the Adler live concert now, so that's been really fun. I heard my other Adler colleagues for the first time since we went into work from home and
The device cuts latency from around 600 milliseconds to roughly 20 milliseconds. That means 2 performers who would normally sound out of sync now sound as if they're in the same room. Soprano Anne-Marie McIntosh said she was surprised at the Aloha device's capability.
It definitely feels live. I was shocked with how little lag. I mean, certainly to my, I feel quite trained ears, there wasn't a perceptible lag. So that was shocking to me that technology has advanced that far.
Future uses of the technology could be applied to areas like remote surgery, where a stable level of latency is critical. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
As the latest business updates for today, you can still catch NTD Evening News with Stephanie Cox at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. For NTD Business, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
We have a new channel. Subscribe to us on YouTube at NTD News. Get the highlights of our news broadcast and the most important headlines that we curate especially for you.
Don't miss out on important news. Our videos are being deleted. So if you don't want to be cut off from honest news, take a moment to sign up for our newsletter at newsletter.ntd.com so you don't lose access to NTD. Go to newsletter.ntd.com to sign up for our evening newsletter.